AITA for dropping my kids off with my wife when she is with a grieving friend. My wife's best friend, Jessie, lost her husband about a month ago. My wife has been at her home almost every single day since. My job has me being on call some nights and money is tight, so I can't not be on call. I know Jessie is struggling, but it is stressing me out a ton to be basically a single parent since my wife is never home. I have talked to her about cutting back, but that ends in an argument about me being heartless. Yesterday I was on call and I actually got called in. I couldn't leave our two daughters home alone, 6 and 9. So I called my wife telling her she needs to head home now. I need to leave. She told me no and to figure it out. We don't have the money for a sitter. My parents live too far away. Her parents aren't allowed near the kids. They suck. And my friends have their own lives or our families. So I packed up the kids and won my way to work, dropped them off at Jessie's house. My wife was pissed that I did that. When I got back, we got into a huge argument, and I told her that she actually needs to be a parent, that I am very sick of her playing house at Jessie's house, and we have our own kids. She thinks I am a heartless fucking man, and I told her to be parent to our own kids.
AITA for refusing to cover a shared cost after my coworker wouldn't show me the break of what the money had gone towards so far? I, 24F, recently started my first full-time job after graduating. My company has an optional team social fund where each member of our small department contributes a set amount every month to cover birthday treats, team lunches, and small surprises. It sounded harmless, so I joined when my coworker Liam asked. He manages the fund and everyone just sends him their contribution directly. Not that I suspected anything, but last month, I asked if he could give me a breakdown of what the money had gone towards so far, because I'm trying to be better about tracking my spending. My mom drilled into me that I should always know where my money is going. He said, "Yeah, I'll get it to you later." He didn't. Few days later, he didn't send anything, but he reminded me that my monthly contribution was due. I asked politely for the breakdown again. No reply. I waited a few days and sent a follow-up. Nothing. He responds to other messages in the work group chat, but mine about the fund get ignored. Last week, he came to my desk and said, "Hey, you still haven't sent your part for the fund this month." I told him I'd be happy to once I got the breakdown I'd asked for. Nothing complicated, just a list of what's been purchased with everyone's contributions. His whole demeanor shifted. He sighed loudly and said, "Nobody else needs this level of detail. It's supposed to be casual. You're making it weird." I told him it wasn't personal. It's just my budget and my comfort. He walked away mid-sentence. Now a couple coworkers have hinted that I'm overthinking everything and making extra work for Liam. One even said I was being stingy for not just paying like everyone else. I'm starting to feel guilty, but it also seems like a basic thing to ask when I'm handing over money every month. Am I the asshole for refusing to contribute again until he shows me what the fund is actually being spent on? AITA for telling my husband he can watch the show I'd been recommending by himself after he only agreed to watch it when his cousin recommended it. Hi, just looking for a quick judgment. This might sound petty. And if it is, and if I'm behaving like an ass, I'll drop the issue and apologize. I've been recommending Gilmore Girls to my husband for something to watch. Since we started dating, really. I even showed him some clips and he said he'd pass, which was fine with me. I've loved it since I was a teenager, and I also understand it's not for everyone. Since I've known him, I've probably watched the show twice over, by myself. Yesterday, we were at a family dinner where a lot of his extended family were as well, and a cousin he's close to. Anyway, today after dinner, as we were watching TV, he put on Netflix, searched up Gilmore Girls with full intent, and then said his cousin had told him his wife got him hooked to this show. It's become a guilty pleasure of his. I honestly thought he was messing with me. I told him I'd suggested it countless times, and me vouching for it had never been good enough, but his cousin's word was gospel. He was just like, "Are you sure this is the same show?" Which just made me madder. I told him I'd seen it twice since I knew him because he never watched it with me, so he can watch it by himself. and I just went to our room. I heard him put it on for like a minute, and then he seems to have switched to something else. I'm sorry for posting something so petty, but really, AITA, for my reaction? Edit. I haven't gotten a chance to go over all the comments. The first few had made the point that this really isn't a hill to die on. I told him why I reacted the way I did. He said the way I described it and the clips versus the way his cousin did were very different. He didn't mean to blow me off. So, anyway, we're watching it now. I'll be sure to come back to this post. Am I the asshole for not making my DIL coffee and telling her I am not a barista? Edit. I sent this to my son and Dill. My son and daughter-in-law, Emily, are staying in our home probably for the next month due to water damage in their home. The company is fixing the damage, but the flooring was damaged, so it's not very livable right now. They have only been here less than a week, and I am having an issue. I work nights. I come back home around 6:30 a.m. and then go to bed. My husband is usually up, so I make him a coffee breakfast before I turn in. Just something like to do. More quality time before he heads to work. I asked my son and Emily if they would also like coffee or breakfast before they go to work. They said no to food, but yes to coffee. That was easy, and I just made 2 extra cups. I asked them to tell me if they want me to change how to make their coffee. I thought they would just tell me, use this cream, or if they had a preference on blend. Emily texted me last night and said she left instructions for the coffee. This morning, I came home to very detailed instructions how to make a complex coffee. It was like a Starbucks drink. She wanted foamed milk on top, different syrups, a specific coffee bean, ground fresh, and a different brewing method. We have a drip coffee machine. Most of the stuff was on the counter. I decided I wasn't doing that and just made the normal coffee. Emily wasn't happy, and we got into an argument before she went to work. I basically told her, I am not a Starbucks barista, and I am not going all that. She told me I shouldn't have offered in the first place if I wouldn't make the coffee to her liking. We left on a sour note. I have been getting texts from my son about not being hospitable, so I am having trouble sleeping at the moment. Should I just make the coffee? Am I the asshole for asking my sister-in-law what she's doing with her degree after she implied my university wasn't prestigious enough? Last night, my husband, our 2-year-old daughter, and I were at my in-laws. My sister-in-law and her husband and kids were there too. The topic of one of their cousin's kids going to university came up. We talked about how going to a good university helps in networking. I mentioned how I had gotten my first business analyst job because my interviewer had also gone to U of T. At this point, my SIL chimed in with, U of T Mississauga, right? So not the actual one? My husband said politely that it's the same thing, and she just shrugged. I asked her where she went. She said she went to U of T and added St. George campus. I then asked how she's using her degree. I knew she's a SAHM, so that's why I'm here. That might have been an thing to say. She said she chose to be a SAHM mom and kind of stopped talking to me. My husband thinks I was out of line. Admittedly, I didn't think it through when I said it, just said what came to my mind. He says her question was tactless but not malicious. I said it was rude and that's what mattered. And the premise of it was just wrong. But I have been reconsidering it. She has texted him about how out of line I was. He's told her it was a misunderstanding between everyone and to let it go. Am I the asshole? Update. I was heartened by all the NTA votes. I read a lot of the comments and really appreciated those saying I wasn't the instigator, so I was in the clear. As I read more comments and the way my SIL was being mentioned, it made me feel bad. I don't blame the comments, they were only going by the context I had provided. But I took the fact that my SIL being criticized heavily was making me uneasy, as a cue to mend the relationship. She isn't a bad person. Her and I aren't BFFs, but have always been cordial to each other. The NTA verdict had given me the peace of mind that my reply wasn't totally uncalled for. So I asked my husband if she was still messaging him. He said she'd just sent a final wall of text of how hurt she was, and then gone quiet. I asked him what he thought. He said he'd told her that her remark was thoughtless. but told me that there's levels to this. My reply really cut her. I told him I was willing to apologize if she did too. Last night, I got a call from her. She said that she had realized that her comment about UTM had come across as insulting, and that was not her intention. She said she was really proud of me and my career and the way I juggled it with being a mother and apologized for her remark. I thanked her and said my comment about her degree was out of line, that she's an awesome mother and my remark had zero thought behind it. It was just me saying whatever I could in the moment. She broke down a bit, and that honestly made me feel terrible. I teared up too, and we just agreed to put this behind us. Like I mentioned in my original post, my reply was instinctive. I don't think she's wasting her degree, and I hope her comment had equally no thought behind it. But I'm glad I patched it up with her. Am I the asshole 30F, texted my partner, 34M, and his best friend that I won't be spending the New Year's with them? I've been with my partner for more than 5 years, and we are both corporate workers. We live together in the same house. He owns. I pay rent, food, and do all the chores. Not ideal, but nothing gets done if I don't do something. We also have a dog that we got early into the relationship. I do all the care for the dog, including grooming, walking, socializing, and etc. My partner's best friend and I share a birthday a few days after New Year's. Every time he's in town in our city, we celebrate together, whether it's going to a restaurant together or do something. I've been asking my partner to go to Hawaii for the past 4 years. I know it's stupid, but I just want to go to Hawaii. We're able to afford it. But my partner had a lot of work for the past few years that we couldn't take a week off or anything to go travel. So we stuck to weekend trips to cities close to us, or if my partner had a work trip, he worked on a startup that never set off with his friends. I'd come for a few days and explore the city, by myself. We finally have about a week from Christmas to New Year's to go on a trip, and I advocated for Hawaii. My partner and his friends made a separate decision that we'd be spending New Year's and my B-Day in New York City, because that's where my partner's best friend lives. I know it wasn't the best plan of attack, but this morning I woke up pretty pissed about literally doing everything my partner does in regards to going on trips. So I texted our group chat with said friends saying that for planning purposes that I'm not going to be in the city, but my partner will be. Now my partner won't come out of his room nor talk to me. I'm just pretty fed up and upset and don't want to travel to a place I go frequently for my own work, and a place we were both literally just at a month ago. Am I the asshole? AITA for refusing to financially support my parents and explaining why when my brother asked. I, 38F, have been living in a different state from my family for over 10 years. I've supported myself the entire time and rarely asked anyone for help. I didn't grow up with my parents. My grandmother supported and raised me, and I never had a close relationship with them. Last year, I went on vacation with my siblings. During the trip, I found out that my youngest brother, 29M, who makes the most money out of all of them, has been paying the mortgage and most of our parents' living expenses. He asked me why I wasn't helping financially. Since he asked directly, I answered honestly. I told him that our parents didn't support me growing up, and that I still remember when my grandmother asked me to write them a letter requesting financial support for my education. My mom wrote back to my grandmother saying she should teach me not to ask them for money because what my dad earned was just enough for them and my 3 siblings. My grandmother let me read that letter, which I don't think my mom knows. I told my brother that I contributed financially when we immigrated and that I paid rent when I lived with them for 2 years. I also used whatever money I earned to help support my grandmother, who actually raised me, until she passed away. After I moved to a different state, I've been completely on my own with zero financial help. Because of that history, I didn't feel responsible for supporting our parents now. Apparently, my brother told my mom. She confronted me via text and accused me of being disrespectful as a child. I explained my side and the experiences that shaped my feelings. She mentioned times she believes I was disrespectful, including verbal and physical conflicts. I explained that these incidents didn't happen in isolation and were often triggered by her actions, such as trying to persuade my grandmother to send me somewhere to dance for money or deliberately ruining my school uniform by putting soy sauce on it. I told her she had not treated me like a mother should when I was growing up. The conversation didn't go well, and afterward, my mom stopped talking to me. Eventually, the rest of my family did too. Now I'm basically no contact with all of them. I feel like I told the truth and set a reasonable boundary, but somehow I'm the one who ended up alone. AITA for refusing to help financially and explaining my reasons when asked. Info. So just to clarify, my siblings paying most of my parents' mortgage isn't actually a hardship. The cost is split 3 ways between 2 brothers and 1 sister, and they all still live in my parents' home. I've never lived there and don't even have a room in that house, so I'm being asked to contribute to a household I was never part of. Their mortgage is under $2,000, which is cheaper than what most people pay for rent right now. My siblings divide that amount based on income. My brother pays the most, and the other 2 split the rest. They also split utilities and groceries. My parents also receive fixed income from Social Security, which they use to travel back and forth between 2 countries. They're not struggling. They simply want to keep their same lifestyle without adjusting their spending. I'm married, and we don't have kids yet. My husband and I set up our finances so either one of us could cover all household expenses alone if necessary. That's intentional for if I get pregnant, I'd be able to stop working for a while without financial issues. My parents and siblings see that stability and assume it means I have extra money to give them, basically because my husband could support me. Realistically, they could sell their house and make a significant amount of money, which would easily support their retirement back in my home country. My siblings are in their late 20s and early 30s, so they're fully capable of moving out, renting their own places, and building their own independent lives if they wanted to. But that's not what they're choosing to do. Living together is simply cheaper for everyone involved, and it benefits all of them. That's their choice, but it doesn't mean I'm required to subsidize it. So no, I don't think I'm the asshole in this situation, which is why it's confusing to be treated like I am. 2. Soy sauce was the most accessible thing for her to use because it was one of our main seasonings at home. When I was a teenager, school meant everything to me. It was my escape, and the only path I saw toward a better future. Damaging my uniform wasn't random. It was the easiest and most effective way for her to hurt me. It was a big deal, too, because I only had one uniform, which means I hand wash it as soon as I get home, then let it air dry overnight and wake up early in the morning to iron it. I basically had to hand wash it and dry it using an iron just to make it to school that day. Think of it like someone deliberately pouring red wine on a wedding dress. It's meant to destroy the one thing they know matters most to you. 3. Yes, during that time, going abroad to dance is often used as a cover to lure girls into trafficking. It's presented as legitimate work, but many end up exploited once they get there. I hope that helps clarify it.
Am I the asshole for getting highly offended after my girlfriend asked whether my dad is corrupt? We're college students in a relationship since 2 years. Our holiday started last week. It will be till January 1st week. We plan that she will stay at my home for 1 week, as my house is nearer and she has never visited. My dad is a retired district judge, she knows. Generally, judges don't have a good reputation here, but as far as I know and love my dad, he's an awesome man. It was a decent paying job, plus he inherited some wealth from grandpa. Hence, my parents have built a nice home, above average. She was fascinated by the exteriors, and the first thing she said to me was, "Looks like your dad has earned a lot above his pay grade." Basically, she said that my dad took a lot of bribes. She said it lightly, but I felt highly offended, and I clearly told her that. Instead of apologizing, she again lightly said that only the thief gets easily offended, which did the exact job of sprinkling salt over the burn. This time I got totally pissed. I'm showing passive aggression now. She's aware of everything but acting like I'm extremely overreacting here. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my mom that I don't want her to see the apartment I will buy? I'm 30 years old. Currently, I live with my mom and dad at our family house. My dad is a cool and easygoing guy. However, my mom is something different. My mother is a person who is very imperious and usually demands the things to be done her way without asking for anyone's permission. She is an extremely pessimistic person who is looking for problems literally everywhere. While she is a caring and loving person, she's also toxic to the point where After years and years of fights over the smallest things in our house between her and my father, me, my father and I developed some sort of passive-aggressive stance towards her, where we subconsciously began dismissing her various shenanigans, which usually made her upset, with her claiming that we're trying to sideline her and make her look like an idiot. It came to the point where on Christmas Eve, after another argument, my father threatened her with divorce if she doesn't stop with her toxic behavior. Now, after years of hard work, I finally managed to gather enough funds to buy myself an apartment. I talked with the owner, and he said that we can visit the apartment in a couple of days in order to see how it looks, and so that the housing expert can see it and tell the price. After I announced that, my dad and mom were happy about the fact, however, my mom said she doesn't want me to leave the house, and instead the apartment should be rented out so it could pay the mortgage that comes with it. Tomorrow is the day on which we go to see the apartment, and my mom said that we will go to see the apartment, and she was very excited about it. This is where my passive-aggressive stance kicked in again, knowing that my mom would try to find problems and discourage me from buying the apartment. I instinctively said, "You're not coming." My mom began yelling at me that I see her as nothing, and that she's worth less than zero to me. She began crying and saying that she would give her heart away for me, my safety and comfort, and that I broke her heart and treat her like crap instead. I told her that knowing her previous shenanigans, she would discourage me and my dad from buying the apartment, hoping to keep me inside the house and preventing me from making my own choices. I told her that it is entirely my decision this time, whether I will buy the apartment or not, since I am sick of her making decisions for me or my dad without ever asking us for our opinion. She continued to cry afterwards, saying that I don't care about what she has to say and I'm a horrible person. I still told her that she's not coming to see the apartment, and I left for my room. And so here we are. I genuinely love my mom, but given the circumstances and history of her actions, I took a cold decision of leaving her out of my apartment visit so I could make the decision on my own for once in my life. Now I feel horrible about how I treated today course. I knew her intentions were pure, but her character is just not. So tell me, am I the asshole?